Hi again, and welcome to the Covert Investigation channel. Here I have another story for you, which I do hope you will enjoy. I would like to also thank you for your interest in my channel, as it's very much appreciated. And if you like the story, could you please subscribe and ring the bell, as it helps the channel to grow. And once again, thank you.
The case of the Battersea Poltergeist saw a family living in a small, unassuming terraced house in 1950s suburban London, subjected to years of nightmarish behavior from their uninvited house guest. The Hitchings family first encountered their guest in 1956, when daughter Shirley found an ornate silver key on her pillow. No one recognized it, and it didn't fit any locks in the house. That night, there was a sound of deafening banging, so loud and harsh were the thuds that they shook the walls and floors of the house. The Second World War had ended less than a decade before the Hitchings had lived through the Blitz, likening their ghostly experience to that of living through war. Neighbors banged on the door to complain, thinking the family were pulling up floorboards or hammering on the walls in the middle of the night. The police were called and heard the noises from the street. The banging continued and became a nightly event. The family called in tradespeople, hoping they might be able to explain why the house was making so much noise. Unfortunately, no one could explain it. The noises continued throughout the day. The family began to hear scratching, sounding like it was coming from within the furniture itself, and particularly inside the headboard of the bed, preventing the family from sleeping. Needless to say, it wasn't long before they were all incredibly sleep-deprived. There were plenty of witnesses beyond the family to back up this strange and eerie phenomenon. Following the advice of a paranormal investigator, the family came to terms with the fact they were dealing with a poltergeist, and realized the presence had a particular preoccupation with their 15-year-old daughter Shirley, who had experienced more of the spirit's attention than anyone else. Soon the family were hearing noises of objects seemingly being thrown around, with reports of a clock floating through the air, sheets flying off beds, pots and pans being launched from an empty room, and slippers walking around on their own. It wasn't long before the behavior escalated to involve the spirit attempting to communicate with the family. Messages were scrawled on walls and bits of paper. The poltergeist, whom the family named Donald, would pen notes to Shirley saying things like, "Shirley, I come," in chilling scrawled writing. The media picked up the story and decided Donald had a sinister obsession with the teenager, discovering he would leave the house and follow her to work. The ordeal lasted for 12 years, during which time the family stayed at the house, and various mediums came and went. The investigator would often camp out in the house to record any activity. The case even made the news and was mentioned in the House of Commons. The stress of the haunting forced Shirley's father to give up work, but when the poltergeist finally left the house by scrawling the word goodbye on a piece of paper, Donald took the key which appeared on the first night. Over the course of more than a decade, the family had grown to know Donald and even discovered things about his life before the haunting. Shirley is still alive and has been interviewed about her experience many times.
Hi again. If you liked the story and would like some more, could you please subscribe and ring the bell, as more stories will soon be uploaded. And once again, thank you.